What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? Mic check, one check. Can everyone hear me all right? How's everybody doing on a fine Sunday? And Mrs. Tahiri, what's up? What's up, Pabloco? How are you doing, brother? Can everyone hear me perfectly? Stacia. Pabloco, straight to the get down to business, huh? Margin calls tomorrow. um, so perfect. So everybody can hear me good. Good, good. Um, well, without further ado, we'll dive right into it. Um, by the way, there's this new like intro video that I've been trying to upload so that it can play right before I go live, and unfortunately, I'm not able to get it going. So it looks like I have to reserve to other methods. Um, so we'll see how that will work. Um, on the bright side, look at this. They already made the candy basket for Eid for tomorrow. This is just a candy like this. Like nothing had. This has nothing to do with the actual desserts that'll be made. Everything. KL, welcome to the chat. How are you doing? Mrs. Tahiti, due time. Okay. All right. So everybody is talking about the DTCC, right? I literally seen probably almost every creator um, also cover or make their own version or their own video of the DTCC regulation about the haircuts and all that stuff. And here's I'm gonna give you like a very summarized detail, okay? Like actually not even a very summarized detail, like just a quick cap all over it. Two things you got to think about. One, this thing was supposed to be implemented sometime down in November. So there's like a 6 month speed up to this. Clearly, politically speaking, there's a lot of things that are happening that are speeding up this whole process. So, with that being said, Forex, good to see you in here. Thank you for stopping by. I always love the emoji that you use, Forex. Some of you guys have some access to some emojis that I just, they're mind boggling. Mr. Panulo, how are you, Mario? Always a pleasure. Um, so yeah, so this thing sped up, and that's something that some creators are also forgetting to tell you guys, is that it was supposed to be implemented sometime in November. These things were supposed to be talked about sometime down in November, the end of this year, but obviously things are speeding up, politics are heating up. um, Executive orders are going to go through, and most likely they're going to be not something that the world wants. Now, that's as far as that side. As far as the haircuts themselves, that doesn't mean anything that's basically rated, as I said before, rated double A2 or below triple A. And then you have the stocks that are like worth, let's say, less than $5. Their collateral is worth zero now. That doesn't mean that they're worthless, but if they want to go and get collateral, like use it as collateral against something, it's going to be worth zero. One, that's as far as for that. And then there's brackets as well. It goes up from 750 to $10. There's a certain bracket from $10 to 12, and and it goes on. It goes on. You know what that signals though? I always like to look at the big picture, guys. I don't like to get too caught up into the detail, unless it's that obvious. The detail is that obvious and that important. You got to remember that them doing this and even speeding it up, that means cash is obviously is not relevant anymore, and they need to make sure that if anybody wants anything or want to use something for anything, you're going to need a lot of cash on you, and you can't just use the bull crap that you used before, that random stuff, and then expect it to fly by. You know, you have to have real cash. So like if you want to come and borrow $1 billion, you have to show that you have a collateral of $1 billion, of actually $1 billion and plus, not just $1 billion, but billion plus. Um, so with that being said, um, Future Will, always great to have you. Good evening to you, brother. This is the final day of fasting. So a few hours from now, if you want fast until the next year. So welcome to the chat, everyone, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so you can comment. We've turned that thing on so that subscribers can, only subscribers can go ahead and comment. I don't want any bots to come in. You guys, some of you remember those that bot that came in, the hot girls, whatever topic that came in, and they keep spamming and stuff. So I think this will might help against that. We'll see. We got nothing but time, guys. So that covers that. Now, I want to tell you guys, hey, how's it going, Jen? Welcome to the chat. I want to tell you guys, a lot of people that are, the reason why I said yesterday on a small video, like ground yourself, be excited, be happy, but be careful with the hype, because a lot of people translate all this that that's it, margin call tomorrow and all that stuff. While that's possible, here's the thing. I don't see that happening that way. And hear me out why. And this might be really important to you guys, especially the ones, like I said, that are just sold on the idea or following certain creators, that are just saying it's over, end game, blah 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 blah. It is, guys. It's always been end game. Go ahead and go back in time and look at a lot of creators' videos that said we are on the edge. Um, it's now or never. You get what I'm trying to tell you here, or what I'm trying to say. Like, you've seen so many of these thumbnails, so many of these people saying those things, but at the end of the day, look at it. Like, it's like 6 months later, we're still here. 8 months later, we're here. A year later, we're here. And what do I mean by this? It doesn't work out when there is hype. You have to be worried. I'm not saying go ahead and sell or buy or whatever. Obviously, we will never tell you something like that. But you have to be worried, because they also can tell this. On the other side, the institutional side, market makers, they anticipate this hype. They see this. They gauge the sentiment of the street. They know what's happening. And what is a more better playground than this? What is better for them to try to cheat people off than this? This is the ground that they thrive in the middle of hype. And this is when you least expect it. It's like boxing. The punch that you don't see coming is always the one that hurts you the most. True. Because you didn't see it coming, you stepped into it, boom, you're out. You're laid out, knocked out. God knows for how long. So that's one. Two, what I'm trying to say is not trying to get anybody's fears. I'm trying to just ground you along, because that's how I'm taking it. Here's my explanation on this as well. It's not just because of fear of hype. No, AB will never tell you to be afraid. In fact, I will even say this saying right here. Um, Once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. So look at that. I'm even giving you hope, and even giving you more push to be more not fearless about what's coming. But what I'm trying to give you is being cautious and understand how the game gets played. When these guys even if they get rolled with margin calls, that doesn't mean it's done. These guys have time to come out with money to pay off their margin debt, so that they don't get liquidated. You got to keep that. I know some of you know this, but sometimes you overlook this, and there's a lot of people that don't know this. Once they get dished with margin calls, they have to come up with the margin cash, and it's almost like very instantly. If they can't, then that's when they get liquidated. If they can, then life goes on. It moves on. How can they do this? This is why I expect that we might actually be going down along with this week, or maybe the next couple weeks coming ahead. And here's why. Remember when I told you a month and a half ago, almost a month and a half ago, it's been a month. Oh yeah, almost about a month. When I told you, remember that run we had to the 30s? And as soon as we touched 33, 34, and then boom, right back down we go. Didn't I tell you guys that a month from now, we're going to see a case and AB will come back to you and we're going to see how this happened? I guaranteed you at that time that there was somebody on the other side, institutional, that dumped major shares in order for them to go ahead and drop the price the way that they did. And now we're down here. Um, let me say this before, let me read this before I continue going. Eid Mubarak Kulu. Kulu sana wa tayyib. Same to you as well, my brother, and all you London and people in England as well. I love you, mates. Do you think the squeeze can happen this week? I don't understand how they would let AMC go down to give people the chance to load up even more. 10D line, this is exactly what I'm about to cover for you right now, 10D. Um, and no, I don't think that we're going to squeeze this week. Not to be the barrier of bad news, but this is not barrier of bad news. This is the savior of good news. I'll tell you why now. Who? How do you say who's Peter Jefferson, Stacia? Where's Peter Jefferson? Is he in here, Mr. Peter? With the real Mr. Peters, please stand up. Please stand up. Who's that? This is the end game. Jeffrey, my brother. Jeffrey, I was looking into how to get going with the software as far as to invite people over to live chat. We're gonna have some fun, guys. All of you, whoever wants in the future, in the near future, hopefully, I'm gonna be inviting on random lives some of you guys, and we all could speak. I told you guys it was a family, and we're gonna do it. Tandy line, good, because I'll load up more. Perfect. So okay, as I was saying, and I told you that somebody they needed. Now, when I looked at Bloomberg yesterday, I was able to see somebody who reported a sell position on the institution side, and it wasn't a small one, family. It was like 500 something thousand shares that were dumped. Given that they went ahead and uh, you know that they did the sale possibly like last month, which I would assume that that's when what happened back then, because they don't sell and report right away. They have up to I think 45 days to report. Um, and here's the thing: when when you see something like that, here's what I'm trying to get to you guys. When you see something like that, meaning these guys they're not on the other side. They have a lot of positions and a lot of other plays. Since the haircuts came in and the haircuts provided like it showed them that what they could use as collateral and whatnot, you're gonna start witnessing now all the like bunch of sell-offs. Like one thing I'll tell you is yes, we are in the end game as far as crash timing and falling off. Companies are gonna start selling off massive positions just so they can go ahead and make up for not getting margined, or if they get margined, so they can pay off the amount that they need to stay within that collateralized percentage, so that they don't get liquidated. What are they going to do? What does AB think they're going to do when that happens? When they get dished with a margin call because Amazon is falling, whatever is falling, they're going to go ahead just so that they don't have to get liquidated on their shorts, whether versus AMC, GME, NEO, blah, 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 all that stuff. They're going to go ahead and they're going to liquidate many of their random positions, whether positions in random companies like Viacom, uh, Chewy, more blue chip stocks, even normal stocks like you might even see it on companies that are very weak fundamentally, which make up for very very good companies to even short at this time and make money off of and get that enough money so that they can keep it in their accounts so that they don't get to a point where they have to liquidate their positions. Now while they're doing that, a lot of institutes on the other side have a lot of shares. You guys already are ready to know this, right? So when an institute drops up about 500,000 shares, and those are not synthetics, guys, when they drop that big of a position, the market is going to feel it. The stock is going to feel it. And thank you, by the way, Jeffrey, the T plus 35. So It's, I don't, AB, again, this is AB's like tickets or receipts based on why do I think this is not going to be squeezed this week. You know, these guys will sell some positions off. I remember, okay, I'll give you a better example. I remember some people that I knew that it's a person, and this person had, you know, a margin account, and he was playing options, and he had stocks and everything. This person, by the way, lost his whole entire AMC position. It wasn't the biggest, but it was like sub 80, around 1800 shares. For a retailer, that's not bad. That's very good. And he was playing options as well. And then he kept dropping, losing. And one thing he forgot, again, this is all about also experience. I think, I don't know if he knew, or I don't know if he doesn't want to say that he did know or he didn't know. It's weird with him because he knew, like he sounded like he knew what he was doing, but some of the things didn't add up. Like buying, you know how they give you on your brokerage, some brokerages give you extra margin because you have over 25K in your account, and he used over his margin on the options. And when he lost on those, they dished him out a very beautiful, unfortunately it wasn't beautiful to him, but you know what I'm trying to say, they dished out to him a margin maintenance call, and it was tremendous too. It was like 7-8 grand based on what was going on with him. And when you know, when he was talking about it, you know, he was going out to his family members, people's like, can I please just, like, you know, lend me this before I have to do this. And eventually he got liquidated. He had to, like, he sold half of his shares, he kept the other half. He sold half of his shares, and he sold other shares that he had in the account with other companies that he really didn't want. He had great price points, but in the same time, the stock, even though he had great price points on it, it was already in the losing as well. So it was a nightmare for him. He lost like incredibly out of it. But what was the end point for him is that I need to live now. I will amputate my arm, I'll amputate my leg, but I need to survive. And that's basically what happened with that person. And these guys would do the same thing. Institutes will do the same exact thing before they say, okay, go ahead, stab me and get it over with. You know, just give me the final blow. Let me see how that, there you go. I don't know why the camera was like that way, so every time I'm looking like I got crossed eyes. I'm looking that way. All right, let me read some of these comments before I even continue, guys, on. Okay, so Peter is not here. Yes. Thank you, Stacia, for faking me out. It's a fake out, like the charts that we read. Pokes, how are you doing, my friend? Ah, he needs a haircut. Well, the DTCC CC is the perfect barber. I hear they got discounts too. I finally got one yesterday. Did you go to the DTCC, Stacia? Um, let's see. Manjeet, welcome to the chat. I haven't seen you before in a long time, in fact, but welcome to the chat. I don't usually see her here. She was in Boss chat the other night, though. Well, welcome over. Okay, Manjeet. Jeffrey wrote, I feel it's almost time. Fake out, Stacia. I'm feeling it too. I feel it coming. No partying right now tonight. Remember that live at 6 in the morning, and we banging out music and stuff. We were taking requests like it was Kiss 107 FM. Okay, so carrying on, guys. So like I said, I agree with all you guys, and it's possible. It's very possible that this is what it is, but this is going to be too quick for that to happen. That way, there's a lot of institutes on the other side that are still holding positions. Obviously, when I seen Credit Suisse selling 500,000 shares plus, dumping them on the market, on the block, and um, at this price, makes zero sense to me. Obviously, the only sense that it makes is that they are really hurting for money. They need cash. Cash is golden right now. Cash is golden. And with that being said, think of it like this. When someone is really thirsty for money, who is more dangerous than that? This is the moment in time where the biggest effery begin to happen, guys. And that's this is why you need to watch out from the hype of, for example, playing weeklies. Or I wish guys, that there's so much that I wish I could say without having to get, you know and that way I make sure that the family is all good and taken care of. But there's limits, and I had to stick within that. But I tried to get the point across as much as possible. Just remember this, guys. Yes, even if they get margined, they have the ability to go ahead and sell off some shares so that they don't get completely liquidated and obviously begin a chain reaction. You got to remember as well that all these people were doing this, all of them. It's not just Archegos that was doing this. Right now, what I would be paying attention to, if I were you guys, honestly, is the developing actions before I take an action. Watch the developing stories. Besides Deutsche, who else gets, you know, rated? And here's the thing: Deutsche and them, they're getting rated and all this stuff, and it's all from money laundering and embezzlement and all this stuff. It's not just guys for AMC and GME. This thing has been going on. I've said many times, this thing is going on for so many years already. So many years. This is just the AMC and GME are the bow tie to finish out the present, just to tie up the present and make it presentable to the whole entire planet. Like, here's the FU part. Um, it's obviously we're much closer to the end than we are to the beginning of this, but be careful with what's happening right now. Just by knowing the detail that I'm telling you right now, that they still can sell off positions just so that they can carry their short position. That is to keep you thinking and keep it in the back of your head. Do not think that that's it. Somebody gets dished out with margin call, that means it's over, done deal. That's not the case, guys. That's not the case. Let's see. What do we have here as questions or comments before we continue going out? Yeah, Manjeet and Stacia, but I think the market is going to go below 400 first. I agree, Jeffrey. I agree with you. And it's not just that, like, I could see AMC and GME also going down. Now, that I've always said that as the more that the long positions drop and the more that they drop, it's better for us because now they're getting cornered. But that's the beauty of why it's called a squeeze, because they're getting squeezed from every angle. They have no hope, no choice. They're stuck, and what's in behind them is not a wall, but a a dam of shorts. And in our case, the reason why this is so beautiful is that they synthetically piled up to that dam so much more that history have never seen anything like it. I don't think anybody's prepared, guys, for the true number, or would ever even believe the true number of the synthetics and the crap that is being created over and over and over again. In fact, even themselves, they might have planned to screw us over at some point, like 2, 3 years ago when they began with this scheme, but they never in a million years thought that it would go down this far or come down to this magnitude that it's in, to the point where a global catastrophe is definitely on hand. You guys see what we were tied up to? We're tied up to Evergrande. We're tied up to the Ukraine and Russian war. Like, these are stocks. I'm talking about 2 stocks or a couple of meme stocks. And like, this sounds like an Avengers movie plot. Straight up. Something that is not that big, like, should not be that big of a deal. At the end of the day, it's a stock. Shouldn't be bigger than its own habitat. But we became so much larger than the habitat that we're in. I mean, you got people buying in Switzerland, in France, in all over the world, Australia, Canada, everywhere, everywhere. AMC strong, AMC strong, and you think for a single second that that's not gonna result in a catastrophe globally? The whole financial system throughout the whole globe is gonna literally go down on its knees. Um, we have some more cool stuff to talk about. Let me just carry on with some of these comments before I continue going. Um, Jeffrey, you are effing smart. He is effing very smart. Lord Nemesis, how are you, my brother? Hopefully, you're having a great time in the Hawaiian Islands. Where did I go? Okay, right there. My plan, not financial advice. No weeklies calls on the VIX. The VIX is going to be very important, Pablo. With you bringing that up, indeed, yes, nothing here is financial advice, but you guys gonna see crazy volatility, which obviously the VIX index fund tracks. And for those of you who are option players out there, be careful, of course, with the weeklies. But remember, right now we're in a downtrend. That does not mean the VIX goes down. It could actually totally be the opposite. Um, Volatility increases, VIX goes up. So it could be the opposite. Now, I'll tell you this: to each situation, there's a different manner. If you know how to play with options, guys, there is a lot of things that can be so unfundamental, but still profit out of. And it's just one thing that you either know or you don't know. Similar to people who like day trade options, um, and without giving obviously any financial advice, but I will give you something here to kind of go ahead and chew on, and carry on and see where it takes you yourself. But people can go ahead and trade options, and based on the entry point that they're going in, this is not something that they're trying to YOLO on, because I know most people when they approach AMC or GME options, they're buying them and they're like, okay, I'm going to hold down to this and this is going to make me a millionaire. I'm not going to comment on whether that's true or correct or that's the perfect way to do it. To each their own. But I'll tell you this: people who day trade options, some of the unfundamental things is that they can go ahead and get way out of the money strike calls or puts, or there's straddles. There's many ways. Everybody always just talks about puts and calls, which you know gives me a migraine sometimes. Um, but yeah, so they can do that, but based on the entry point that they came in at, even if it's way out of the money call or way out of the money put, once they buy, if they bought at the bottom of that day, and obviously they're not thinking about carrying this on for another day, so that extrinsic value gets completely obliterated out of that call, they could easily resell it back again. And based on what they bought it for, like for example, there was a few times before, uh, I got to give you guys examples where I got VIX calls and I bought them at the bottom of that day, which that day was around that 12:30 zone. That's just how it happened. And they were all so cheap. It's unbelievably, like, so unbelievable how it's cheap, because it was also dipping so hard. And obviously on the charts, it was looking for obviously that it was going to level out and rebound. But if you buy at the bottom, the value of that option that you got doesn't matter what at that point, what the strike price is. A little confusing, but you have to get used to it to go through it to see it. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Um, and then from that point on out, I bought at that bottom level. It goes up. I sell. I was able to buy some of those options for $5, $6. So even like the risk reward here is very beautiful, because at the end of the day, you have to be your own risk analysis person, right? If something, let me give you a little example. If something costs you $25 for 5 calls on whatever the VIX, and it just costs you $25. And if you think of it that way, you're like, okay, well, my risk here is really not that much. It's just $25. And I know this is the mindset of a gamble in a way, but with options, or with investing, at some point there is a little bit of a gambling that gets involved with investing. There's always a little bit of gambling mindset, not gambling, but gambling mindset that goes in, because even when you're investing, no matter how much info you know about the stock or the company itself, even if you're just buying a stock, it's not just option. You're rolling the dice and you're betting on the fact that it is gonna be flourishing in the near future or in the down the line in the far future. So at some point, that's a little, in my world, that's a little gambling, right? Because you're betting on the unknown, no matter how much you have, like how many theories you have in front of you that gives you facts. At the end of the day, what happens in the future, none of us know. So at that point, I'll calculate it and see, okay, 25 bucks, what would they do with my life? Yeah, I can go ahead and, um, you know, not even pay off a Netflix subscription. What can I do with that? Some cool things, but not that much. Um, can't even go to Longhorn Steakhouse with that, right? Unless you order a salad and give the rest out for tip and gratuity. So to the point that I'm making here, obviously, is that when I put that stuff on there, and let's say I make 70 bucks, 60 bucks out of that, 100 bucks, even if I made 30 bucks, I got my 25 back and I made 30 extra. Guess what? As after you go on, what I'm telling you guys here is when you start off at the entry level, every dollar matters. And I remember those days, but when you develop that system and that mindset and that strategy, and that's it, you stick true to your guns, you stick to your guns, that's it. It's only a matter of time before it's like less than a year before you have major amounts of money in your account. Because as you go up with your capital, your risk tolerance becomes much more like higher. You're not going to expand your risk. You can stay the same risk levels, but what you're working with is different. So your 10% at some point was 1,000, while in a couple months you continue with the system and you continue being successful at it. And by the way, you will take some hits here and there. That's why it's important to always stick to your guns. Have a certain risk level where, hey, when it drops to this point, I'm out. I don't care what the fundamentals, how bad or how good I feel about this. I got to be out and re-enter again at a better position so that you can not risk losing the other 80, or for me it's 20%, so I don't risk losing the whole 100% or the other 50, 70, 60%. And then for me it's going to be a harder climb to try to climb back up, to go back up top. So you have to have your own percentages. Once it reaches it, accept it, be a grown adult about your loss, take it to the chin, learn from it, and move forward. However, you don't take no losses. God, hopefully the Lord keeps all the losses away from you guys, and you continue sticking to your guns and you continue going forward. Then again, 3 months ago, it might have been 1,000 that you were working with. 3 months later, most likely you'll be working with $5,000 to $10,000. And then if you keep taking your 10%, 20% daily income or 5% profits every day, whether it's pre-market or whether it's options or whether aftermarket, as long as you set a percentage that you're going to stick to and you go along with, just watch it. 5% every day, 5% every day, 5% every day, 5% every day. In less than a year, you're going to make more money than what you can make in a career, probably. Or in less than a year, you could probably make more wealth than what you can make. Who knows? More than what you make in your 401k for an entire career. And I mean that, by the way, because you're always going to come on or come off. If you still have your system and you stick to it, there's always, I don't care what anyone says, if you're that stable and you're that that cornered and that's it, you have your piece and you stick to it, you don't care, you just close-minded about all your thoughts and your beliefs and your strategy, you will have at least one to maybe five, I would say, at least opportunities throughout a year where they're going to be random, where you still do what you do and suddenly the play changes up on you where it's much more than what you even anticipated. And next thing you know, you're like, hey, I hit up big. Like last year on this big, and that was my big hit, like where you make 100, 200 or $300,000 on one hit, on one play. Trust me, you do all that stuff, guys, and you'll see that kind of stuff happening. I feel that AMC could go up to previous highs just for it to be fake out again. And also, the hedges can make more money. How can hedges make money if they don't do this? Ooh, okay, 10D line. I got something for that. So, 10D line. The difference between last time and last June is that there was unlimited liquidity. Okay. They were able to get what they need whenever they needed it. Now is different. What solidified that is different? See, I was afraid of something like that, Tandy Lion. I am not gonna lie to you. But when you see the DTCC haircuts program and you see other behavior, the behavior on the market and what's happening, it's done deal now. Any sudden rip, again, this is my opinion. It's not factual. I mean, who knows? It could be, I could be wrong, obviously, but I 100% believe that any sudden rip that we get is going to be a final dead blow to them. Because think of it like this. If AMC goes up to 50, 60 bucks, the cost to borrow is clearly going to rise with it as well. And in these times where the lenders, the original lenders, the OGs that even the banks go to, not who the brokers or who the market makers go to or the hedge funds go to, no, the original lenders are raising, hiking rates, unloading their assets instead of taking more. Yeah, good luck with trying to survive that or trying to come up with margin. Even what you have as an institute, if you were an institute and now most of your stuff just got haircut and shaved, who's going to give you any money? You better off providing that whole amount yourself than having to get something that you're most likely going to pay double of tax on to try to get it back. Nobody wants to get rid of any of their pennies right now because people have been taking their money and they've been putting them in long bonds and long yield bonds, 10, 30-year bonds, investing in the future already because they already know what's coming and they're trying to protect their wealth. That's the wealthy ones. And those are the ones that normally either have the choice of leaving their money liquid in the markets or not. Um, what I'm paying attention to is you see how Jeff Bezos just became the third richest man in the world, right? And we've been for months now saying, I'm anticipating to see when all the dust settles, which or how many or which one or how many of the world's wealthiest individuals are actually on the wagon that is battling us, because it's not normal. If it was just the us against the Citadel, we would have finished this back in 2021, like January of 2021. Believe it, believe me, please, because Citadel, even for the last 2 years, have had very bad. They were not very accredited. They were not like a triple A credited company. So to get money and all that stuff, and to have all the strings being pulled, somebody really strong, not normal person, not normal individuals, have to be backing them up. This is, again, this is my opinion, guys. Of course, you don't hear other people probably saying this, but it's a matter of opinion. But I see it that way, and this is why this thing has taken this even long, because the person or that final monster in the video game that we have to beat out or get through or kill to get to our final destination is that one huge monster that just, they put on the cover of the video game itself. Wild horns and 25 uh 125 feet tall and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, um when you become fearless, life becomes limitless. Remember that, guys. When you become fearless, life becomes limitless. I'm not saying become fearless means go become reckless and start playing. Okay, AMC options or GME options tomorrow for ending this week. Well, hey, if you know what you're doing, go for it. If you don't, AB is just trying to look out for you. Let's see. Let me read some of these comments. Let me see if there's any questions here. Hopefully that answers it, Tendi. This is just my opinion. You could be definitely true, 100%. You could be correct, but I'm just giving you, my perspective on that. There's no money if any of the meme stocks currently. There needs to be some kind of money to play with, and that's how they. Yes, in fact, the way that they do that, how they get the money, is by liquidating positions. You've seen what they did with Amazon. You've seen what they're doing. What they did with Chewy. You've seen what they did with Shopify. You've seen what they did with many of them. TQQQ, many of them, many of them. It's not just like I can't even name all of them here, like in one session. And all that points to them getting liquidity so they can do what they got to do. What do they do with that liquidity? Well, they have to put a lot of it against their debt so that they don't get margined, so that it can stay within the limits. Because in case they get margined, they can't come back and say, hey, I can't pay you to the broker. That's why it's called margin account. All these levels are already played with now. Here's where they're going to get screwed, by the way. Everything normal is already figured out and margined for. But synthetics, that was not in the part of the equation. So how they're gonna deal with that battle, that's their business, that's their problem to figure out, and for us, to know. That's it. But for them to figure out, and that's how I see that one working out. Now, um, let me see here. Did I pass many? Wow, I did pass. Why did I go down this far? Oh my God. Financial advice. Okay, I get it here. So in order for them to what else they do with the money when they sell off positions is they take it and they pump random stocks off. I told you, remember, like 3 weeks ago, I was saying these upcoming next months, prepare for the crazy volatility. You can thrive if you know what you want to do in it, because what it brings is movement. And if you know what your entry levels and your exit levels, and you have, like I was saying in the beginning of this stream, like your strategy and everything, then you can make a shitload of money in this time. It doesn't have to be just one way or the highway, or whether it's betting on the upside or betting on the downside. No, day trade the shit out of this. Like when you see levels where it bottoms out on that daily, you can get in and get out with whatever level that suits you. And it's so easy. It's so easy that you can see it. That's why I was telling you, embrace the volatility that was coming 3 to 4 weeks ago. Embrace this volatility that's coming up, my friends, or dear family members. Embrace this volatility. And that's amazing, because what they do, they take that money out of those long blue chip stocks or other stocks, like even AMC, they're selling their positions out of it. I just told you, look at it. Go check. You don't believe me? Check Fintel, check Bloomberg, check and see what they're selling. Some institutes are selling their positions, which is good for us, because as long as they have a lot of shares, honestly, I think this 100%, as long as they have too many shares, there's always chance for them to lend those things out. However, this is why they dragged it off this long. However, even that model is coming to an end. And the reason why that model is coming to an end is because the borrower don't have money to come and borrow from the person. So they milk the shit out of this cow as far as the lending securities and all that stuff. Um, and now institutes are saying, okay, I need money. The market is drying, and they're dumping off some positions, which is good for us. At the end of the day, we hold most of the floats, not the floats of this play. Let that ring in. We don't care. AB does not care about institutional holdings or any of that. Yes, they will utilize that to drop the value of the play as it's squeezing, or as we leading up to the squeeze. But that does not do anything to us. For one, the original float, we hold more than 90% of it. That's something that the CEO have actively came out, and he has access to reading all the real float. He doesn't have what's behind the curtain as far as synthetics or nakeds, but he has access to see the original shares, the original float. And he said Just in this last quarter, we hold more than 90%, guys. So if institutes, I understand their numbers of the shares that they're providing are much higher, like it indicates that we don't have 90%. Clearly, right there, that shows you that there is a lot of manipulation in the stock. So that's what bugs me when the CEO comes out sometimes and says, um, while I don't see that there is any proof that there is this or that or that, or it's right in front of you. Retail owns this XYZ, and institutes own XYZ. There's only this many shares. These two, if you add them together, equal way more than the float. Does it take someone like me to come and tell you that? I doubt it. I don't think so. There's no need for that. But hey, at the end of the day, that's what we live in. So what do these guys do anyways with the money that they shave off of their positions? They take them and they go ahead and try to make more money by pumping and dumping random stocks, pharmaceutical plays, SBFMs, all those. These are plays that these guys use so they can make some temporary money to get them by till tomorrow. I want you guys to understand that that's the state of have at this current time. They are trying to get by just for another day and another moment. That's all they're doing. And as long as we don't give them, there's a key here, what I'm saying. That's why I chose this word, give them. You know, when you give them money by doing stupid weeklies and you don't know what they are, there's a difference between you know what your play are, what your play is, and you get out with either profit or with no loss. That's a difference between going in all in, FOMOing, and you don't know what to do based on what some creators have said. You're seeing thumbnails that says margin calls dished out already or tomorrow, and it's over, the end game. And then you have Thanos in the background with all the Infinity Stones. You know what I'm going there with that, guys. I'm just joking with you. But there are people out there like that, guys, that get led astray. And next thing you know, they look at Friday and they're like, why did the stock stay stagnant this week? Why did it even drop $1 or two by the end of the week? I started at 15. I thought that this bottomed out. There's absolutely no way that we can bottom out. And I'll tell you why. We can't bottom out. Not that I'm saying that we are going to go lower again, or we're going to go higher. Not financial advice, but keep this thought in the back of your head. You make what you want out of it, okay? If institutes like Credit Suisse can drop 500,000 shares, 500,000 shares randomly, and with that, you could easily drop the stock at definitely at least a couple dollars. And we know that there's a lot of shares out there, and a lot of these companies were already lending out the shares for over a year, making so much money. They already, if I'm not reading too much into this, guys, I'm going to say this. I wouldn't be surprised if they already had a pre-arranged agreement with some of these hedge funds for them to buy these shares, because smart money normally thinks that these meme stocks, and they talk bad about it. So why are the institutes investing in it, right? Well, they see the potential in the play, but not because they want to freeze their money. It doesn't make sense to them to go ahead and make an investment that gets frozen for over a year and a half. I know how they think on that side, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys in here, if not all of you guys, know how they think on the other side. So with that being said, why would they want to freeze their money and or come in and buy a stock in the 40s? Because most of them bought in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. Why? While they can, obviously they're professionals, they're smart money, they could be on the other side waiting for the dip. I mean, when it comes down to that mindset, we're doing so much better than smart money on that. Well, we do so much better than smart money in so many ways. But why are they freezing their money for over a year and a half? Well, because I personally think, and this is just a theory, guys, it doesn't have to be factual. I just think that they possibly had prearranged agreements with these companies that said, hey, don't worry, this is 100% play for you. There's absolutely no way for you to come in this play and lose, or this company and lose. The institute comes back with, why? How is this going to be very good with me? for me, 100%. Well, because if you go ahead and buy these shares, you're going to have so many of us, XYZ, hedge funds, market makers, whatever, that are going to come and borrow shares from you. And by doing this with more than just one, like one institute, this is why, to a certain extent, I believe that they created this. This is the only way that they were able to push this longer and further. They convinced like the amount of institutes that were investing in AMC and GME, but not holding it like Amazon or whatever, because they were buying them, but they were also lending them out for shorting, because Amazon does not get shorted, guys. Apple does not get shorted. Like they don't get shorted to oblivion the way that they're shorting AMC and GME, because they're very stable companies. They're very, very high market cap. It'll be ludicrous for somebody to try to try to short them, because what are you going to short them from? 28 to 27.50. And at any given time, they can come out with something like a new iPhone reader or something, and next thing you know, it goes up $2. Because of the price of the stock, you automatically got obliterated, straight up. So I personally think they were making a agreed upon deal, and said, you go in and a bunch of other institutes can go in, and we will all come to you. We're creating a market for you. You guys are the buyers because we need your money. You buy the shares, and we come, instead of us having to buy all these shares to dump them short or whatever, we can go ahead and come and rent them from you. You lend them out to us. And over time, obviously over a year and a half, you'll see that you have made not only your money back, but quadrupled, if not a lot more, your money back. And at some point, when we need you, we're going to need you to dump those shares on the block. At the end of the day, that's just how it is. I believe so. Like I literally have a big belief that this is something that was happening, and I believe that this is how it went down on the institutional side, and the reason why it happened the way that it does. Because obviously, we're not lending out our shares. In fact, we don't want to, but there was many people that didn't even know that they were lending out their shares because they had margin accounts without them being questioned about lending out their shares. And there are some that did turn off the margin and said, turned off the lending off the shares to other institutes. But even then, you still don't know if they were really going, because like at the end of the day, how are you standing over it? Is it in your back? Are your shares in your drawer or under your pillow? Do you know if somebody really physically going ahead and like they can come and tell me, hey, don't worry, we're not lending out your shares, all they want. But if I say I want to transfer all my shares and I want them right now, they'll say, no, this takes about 5 to 7 business days. Why does that something like that? Because they have to go and buy the shares off the block. Digitally, to me, I see it in my account. It's just like an ATM in a bank, guys. When you have $5,000 in your bank account, you go and you read the transaction. It says, oh yeah, you got 5,000. The number is there. The number and all the zeros are there. But if you try to withdraw all 5,000, then it'll tell you there's a limit, right? Because, and especially if everybody comes back at the same time to the same branch to try to draw all their money at the same time, even if it's not at the ATM, even if they go inside the branch, the bank will say, sorry, we need to wait until we can transfer more money from our other branches. And as soon as everybody leaves, the bank will close the branch down and they gate it up and they'll leave the state. That's the reason why banks are evil, guys. I mean, of course, I was making an overly exaggerated joke there, but to a certain extent, it is true. If I mentioned this before, if Chase is my bank, that's one of the banks I deal with, and let's say my total account is 20,000, okay, and let's hypothetically say that there's 20 other people. There's all together 21 customers that Chase owns. That's it. That's all their accounts. Okay, just hypothetically speaking here. I have 20,000. You have those 20 other people have exactly 20,000 as well. We all have the same amount. If we were all, let's say if I go and try to draw my 20,000, perfect. They'll make it go through. The thing is, if I and the other 20 people came at the same time to try to withdraw our money, the bank won't be able to do it, because their whole model is based on them hoping that not everybody comes to ask for their money again. Because once we deposit our money, it all goes into one big reservoir of the bank, and they use that as capital to go ahead and do whatever investments they want. You wouldn't even know if your money was being utilized to go ahead and buy weapons, or to buy coke, or whatever crazy stuff. You wouldn't even know. As long as digitally you're looking at that number numerically on your account, that's all you care about. You see it on your phone when you log in, that's what you see. But if everybody comes to try to get their money back out, it's impossible. The bank wouldn't be able to do it. Whatever bank it is. I don't give a shit who it is. That was a cool little rant, wasn't it? Who is here? Let's see. Ooh, Tafui. Is that how you pronounce it? Stacia? Frankie Muhammad, the legend, the man. By the way, guys, do you think the margin calls Monday will have a big effect on the market? Frankie, I don't know if you heard that part that I was saying a little bit ago, but there is, let's see, hold on one second. I'm getting like these notifications about my soccer league, and they know I'm injured, so it's weird. Anyways, as I said, margin calls are going to could be dished out, but they're not going to suffice, in my personal opinion, because they still have assets that they can dump off in order to close off or reach the margin minimum, so that they don't get liquidated. That's what I personally think. And right there, with that being said, this is how they will catch a lot of poor apes in a big fish web, that they'll just a net, they'll dump in the ocean. A lot of people are already preparing for margin calls, so they're preparing, they're loading up. Don't get me wrong, I will never tell anyone not buy and when to sell and what not to buy, but I will always tell you to watch out from when there's guys. Even Buffett tells you guys this, and you guys all know this. When there is fear, be greedy, and when there is greed, be fearful. What times are we in right now? I'm not telling you to add more. In fact, obviously, you're buying stock. That's an amazing idea. But greed makes people want to go ahead and play the other devil. You know what the other devil I'm referring to, guys, right? I'm trying to stay as close as possible. I'm dancing on that rope of over the line, and I'm trying to make sure I don't get cuffed up. But I care overly emotionally about all of you guys, and because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like. I've seen it. Devastation when people go ahead and YOLO and FOMO and crazy like this stuff, because of almost every creator is pushing them in that direction. You can make that decision, and then you turn around and say, I hate every single person. None of these YouTubers know what they're talking about and all that stuff. And I don't want any of that to happen. I don't want you to make a decision out of being angry, you know? And obviously a costly one to you. So remember this. I'll give you another hint here. AMC is at $15, guys. Even options wise, just in case. I know there's a lot of you that say, but the options are cheap right now. Don't worry. I got you with some mental things. If you see, remember when I told you before, AB needs 2 straight sessions of 30% plus, or one massive session of 60% and higher one day, in order for me to label it as the real deal. Because when I see that, it's impossible for the other side to try to bring that back down below the margin requirements for the not just the margin requirements, but the options by Friday, which they don't have a lot of money to go ahead and borrow a lot to short this back down 60%. But 60% at $15 is what? $8 almost. 778, 780, whatever, 775. $7.75. So $7.75 plus $15 is what? 22.75, 23. We'll just, round it up for you beautiful apes. So you want to tell me that $23 is not a beautiful price to buy on? People, I've been in this place since September 20 of 2020. Okay. Not September 20 of 2020. I've been in since September of 2020. That rhymed so well though. And I can tell you this, back in 2021, when the stock was at 60, everybody was saying it's perfect, still perfectly worth it. When the stock was at 50, that's the dip, buy the dip. When the stock was at 40, that's the dip. That's oh my God, buy the dip. $30 was like people were selling their homes and their wives to jump in this. And wives were selling their husbands just so that they can jump in this in the 30s. When it went to the 20s, nobody imagined it. Just nobody thought it would go to the 20s. And now in the teens, it's again 23 for potentially thousands of dollars per stock. That's very cheap. But even for the option on the options side, same thing. Even at 23, go up probably a couple of 100%, but it still would not be in the thousands. Like how, for example, GME right now, if you try to go get something that's in the money, or even somewhere around in the money, it's going to be in the thousands. But yeah, speaking of, with hopefully that gives you guys more of an input on what's going on in my head, guys. When we have this week coming up ahead, so we'll see. Another thing, guys, big shout out to Mr. Frankie Muhammad. Hopefully, brother, you have a great Eid, and hopefully may Allah accept all your prayers and all your sacrifice for the holy month of Ramadan. And hopefully margin calls do come out to get dished out for Eid on the celebrate on our holiday. So that would be very great, a great gift. But besides all that, guys, Frankie Muhammad is an amazing voice, an amazing cornerstone of this movement. Anytime you need positivity and you need to be grounded, make sure you check out Mr. Frankie Muhammad. Amazing brother, an amazing message, and it's always consistent. That's one thing I will vouch for personally myself. 10D Lion, Manjit, yes, many possibilities, but obviously no one has that beautiful crystal ball. if once you find it, 10D, please let me know. At work again, a youngin need them shares, dry powder. You keep doing your thing, Pokes. I love it. I agree, no crystal ball, but whenever the stock is going up, day traders show up. Yes. Day traders also, Manjeet, are always going to be part of the equation. This is kind of like that, that grain of salt you have to just take. Just take it with a grain of salt. They're always going to be there. Scalpers are going to be there. At the end of the day, whatever there's going to be scalping is if people are selling. So they can scalp that stupid punk 1 or 2 million shares that are floating around in the basket, just like an old oil that they keep frying the same, fries in the same frying pan and the same oil for the last year and a half. It has not been recycled because people are holding their stuff. Unless it comes from the institution side, there's nothing coming in or rolling in. It's as easy, as simple as that. They're just using those punk 1, 2, 3 million, whatever, shares that are just floating around, and day traders will thrive through that. As for us, maybe he's not going to tell anyone what to do, but buy, hold. It's been the mantra, and it's going to continue to be the mantra until the final blow comes and the ball drops. Good point, by the way, Manjeet. Because a lot of people think that there's no day traders when the stock is squeezing. No, in fact, a lot of people, day traders are going to be the most pissed off people in this squeeze when this thing squeezes, because they're coming in with the mindset of, I day trade. I'm always successful like that, and that's good for them. But this is the wrong play. This and GME and some of these meme stocks are the wrong place to do that with. This is your once in a lifetime opportunity play. This is not the day trade play, because on this you can always find every day. You'll find every stock, literally every stock on the market can be scalped every day. Every day, if you read your charts right and you know when to enter, when to get out, or when to enter up here and to get out down here, whatever, whether to the upside or to the downside, there's every stock can be squeezed, like milked out with for some money. But AMC, GME, when they squeeze out, when these day traders come in, buy in at like $20 or $18 and then sell at 21 in the effort of hope, and they succeed with that, and then they buy back at like they think is going to go back down to 18. Let me tell you something. In the early stages of the squeeze, there's no, like, don't worry about that. If the squeeze checks to be true, like, and it does go through and it initiates, like whenever that moment comes, as we said, there's no crystal ball. The least fear that people would have is the early stages. And here's where the day traders will get screwed. The day traders are going to see it when it initiates and it goes up, and they will look at it. Oh, okay, from 15 it's at 18, this thing is squeezing, perfect, I'm gonna jump in. They take a position, and then at from 18 to about 21, 22, that's when they dump out, like, I made good money on this. And that's true. Then they're going to be like, I'm going to wait for the rebound. It's gonna the RSI is going to come down, and it's gonna recorrect before it goes up on the next leg. And this is where they get screwed. You're gonna see the first leg comes right off of from that 20 or from that 23. You're gonna see boom 31. Like, it's gonna start flying 25, 24, 26, 25, 75, 27, and they're gonna be like, shit, I'm not gonna get my $18 or $19 again. It's not dumping back down there. So they're gonna buy up at the 27, $28. So in a way, you're gonna love the day traders, because they will also be their own enemy during the squeeze, because they will buy at higher prices, hoping that the price would dump down, but they will buy at higher prices. And when they buy at higher prices, they help the price go up even more exotically. And then at some point, they get to a point where they buy, like, they literally would, just so that the fear of missing out, they turn from day traders, scalpers and professionals, into FOMOers and YOLOers. They're gonna be like, this is at 85. Is this gonna rebound down to 40 or what? And a bunch of them are gonna do it. A bunch of them are gonna do it. And the rest that don't do it, they're gonna be extremely pissed. They're gonna be extremely pissed. And this is why I say that day traders are gonna be the most pissed people during the squeeze, because they are the ones that are gonna taste the honey, but they're not going to get full of it. Maybe he's coming at you today with a lot of these quotes, huh? Honey and full. Future, how's it's going? Well, how's it going, Future? I'm pretty sure you probably addressed Mrs. Tahiti. I'm behind on the comments. Let me power through these. Gotta pay the price of tuition to learn options. Oh. Pavloko, that's a price that we all have to pay. And I'm pretty sure you're saying it because you paid the price. And I tell you, because I also paid the price on that. I already know that. But there's ways to attend a tuition of a community college before jumping into the actual university. You get what I'm saying, Pabloco here. Future probably moving furniture around. Yeah, he did close in on a house, didn't he? That's right. He's closing on a house, right? Yeah, I was right. Tendy line. When I played the GME short squeeze, I remember the squeeze happened when not too many YouTubers were online. It was everyone for themselves. It happened when we didn't expect the AMC squeeze to 70. 100% correct. When AMC squoze in June, and I wouldn't call that a squeeze, I would just call that a ramp or a gamma, because a squeeze obviously is not $70. Um, but we always call it a squeeze, a squoze. It just good, but it doesn't matter. Gamma or regular squeeze, and the bottom line is it went up, right? Um, and that was the biggest hit for me. And the OG subscribers here know this. Like that was the biggest hit for me as far as on the options chain and what it happened. And yes, you're correct, Tendyline. It happened when people were not covering. It happened when least people amount of people expected it. When everybody's expecting it, that's when you got to put your hand on your heart. Oh, why did it just why did it just go all the way down? What the hell? Man, don't tell me I'm that much behind. I am that much behind. Wow. Holy moly. Sorry, guys. I'll power through these. Um, I was watching trades. It has to be now. Um, how many times have trades came out and said, guys, I'm sorry. Listen, no knock on the guy, guys. Okay. But I'll tell you this. He wasn't the only one that made over $1 million on options on AMC in June. Okay, I'll just put it with that. I'm not going to mention who else, who didn't, but it wasn't too much big of a deal. Like honestly, it wasn't that like it was almost in a way like I'm going to bring myself down with this statement as well. It was almost very easy at that time to go ahead and load up on $40 calls because that was the highest on the options chain at the time and play them for a far out date. It was inevitable, especially on a play like AMC or GME. So again, not a knock on the guy. At the end of the day, having the money is better than not having the money, right? Um, but like I said, I'm not going to mention who else also made that. And a lot of people are given over credit, kind of a given for granted. Grant him because he said now or never, but then comes back later and says, I'm sorry. But what does that do when people lose money? Um, when people come out like Lou also said something like this, when he came out and said March or never, guess what it did to people? There was a lot of people that are hardcore believe in the guy and like religiously believe in the guy, like he's a prophet. Um, and he lost many of his accreditation. Like he's not as credited as he once used to be. At some point, Lou was like the god of this player. Now he's not even as accredited. And he did that with himself because, again, when you come out, I understand that you get to a point where you want to make a buzz on the YouTube net on the like a paparazzi. But when you do that, you're hurting people and you're going to hurt yourself eventually. You hurt your own brand. It's okay. It's okay. I respect men or women who come out and admit their mistakes and own up to them. But when you do it too often, it does not become a respectful thing. It becomes more of a, why are you doing this at this point? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? AB touches right on, like he's real 100% about what he has to say and what is on his mind. I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm just saying it as real. Um, Too many sorries normally dilutes the relationship. I'll just put it that way, and that is the truth. Um, and you know what I'm talking about, guys. Hopefully, if you don't agree with it, it's fine. I respect it. Hopefully, you respect my opinion as well. But again, guys, do not go off of somebody's words because when you lose, the last person you can go and complain to and expect them to do anything about is the person you listen to. So if Mr. Trey would love to say that it's now or never, it has to be now, even if he didn't say never, but it has to be now. And it doesn't go through, and a bunch of you went ahead and played options on a whatever weekly or bi-weekly or something and lost. Don't expect to go to his page and say, Trey, I lost because you said this and now I'm screwed, and expect him to compensate you or anything. At the end of the day, you guys all make your own decisions, right? I'm watching real estate market. Banks are going to foreclosure is up 181%. since right on, Mrs. Tahiti. This is exactly why I'm waiting, obviously, to buy any house, or even advising some of my siblings. They want to close in on some properties, but I'm telling them, do not do anything like this right now, because right now you're going to buy something that is high value, and when everything drops, even if you hold on to it, it's going to take probably another 8 to 10 years before you can get back to this all-time high of an evaluation of a property. So you're buying something for high, and when it goes low, if you can survive holding on to that property, it's going to take you that long, like 10, probably 10, 12 years again, to try to reach back that valuation of this property. Or when the market comes back up, which again, it could at least take another 6 to 7 years at least before it can rebound. Last time the market dumped in 2008, it took until 2012 before it started showing some teeth. It was like a newborn infant baby. How do the hedgies make any money when they don't? Then why don't they just quit? LOL, it's so dumb unless they are planning something sinister. Um, Tendy Lion, think of this. Okay, this is a little deep. Citadel is an entity. King Griffin is an entity of his own. The most vital part of Citadel is King Griffin. If King Griffin, if the world is coming for King Griffin, Citadel can burn before the world gets to King Griffin. Okay. Um, Most of the people there are employees that are normal. Some of them obviously might be shady, but some of them are just doing jobs. So when the company goes down, the true entity that we're aiming for, or the true monster or the evil here, is not the building itself or the people that are working in there. It's mostly, obviously some of them are, but mostly it's from the head figures. They say you can cut off a snake's tail or its body and it still survives unless you cut off the head. That's who our issue is, or that's who your issue is, obviously, with as well, is with the head of the snake. It's not the tail or the body or these little employees that are in there. They get orders and they just execute them. Yeah, morally on their end, bad, good. Everybody has a different output on that, but the head is the main issue here, and the head is connected to so many outside people, like government and campaigns. So it becomes a whole ecosystem of corruption. Hopefully that explains it, Tendy Lion. Thank you for your perspective. That's why I love your channel. But Tendy Lion, that's why I love you and all the family here and the members. And like I said, I can't wait until I get that software so that I can send out random live invites to family members, and we'll see. We're going to be all seeing each other at some point. Almost every day or every other day there will be somebody, and we'll talk about whatever. Ramos, how are you doing, my friend? Roadster guy, AB, how are you, my friend? How are you, brother? Roadster guy. KJW, Moas soon. I love that sentiment, and yes, I agree totally, 100% with that. Lots of people in here. I just demolished that like button, but almost forgot. Am I seeing it? Yeah, I still see it on the screen. You didn't demolish it yet, Stacia. Audio is cutting, brother. Oh, is it cutting out still? No way. Okay, let me skip down and see. Can you guys hear me now? Can somebody tell me? Can you guys hear me right now? Okay. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. I didn't skip anybody over. I promise. I'm going right back up, but it will be much quicker answers. I promise now. I know I want everybody to be heard. Um, nice. Nice. This is where I was. Maybe because I was moving, doing all this. Yeah, that's probably why. Um, Ghost 2, how are you doing, my brother? Welcome, welcome. Uh, Doing well. Air mattress could work in emergency situations, Tahiti. Totally fixed, Stacia. You are a genius. She is, but don't trust her with the hammer. Ask boss and Tony De Niro that. Thank you, Stacia. I appreciate it. Adrian Fernandez is in the house. What's up, brother? Smash, smash. The best one to say that word was Pantheon. Hearing Pantheon say smash, 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 that just got me rolling. Mickey J, oh man, Mickey J, the goat. How are you, brother? Just stopping by to see what's up. Hopefully, I don't get coiled. Ah, well, she's right above you. Just a couple comments up. Big B, what's up, brother? And salam alaikum as well. Happy Eid to you, brother. Adrian, Holy Toledo, where you been? Make me giggle. Look at that. Stacia is already replying, saying, spoiled and coiled. Adrian, you're welcome. Dana Young, how are you, my friend? Welcome. And to you too as well, Redwan. Thank you so much. Frankie, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for stopping by. Or obviously, I'm not telling you to leave unless you already left, but appreciate you and appreciate all your support, brother. Let's see. Yeah, see, Veronica is saying this. Hello, brother Muhammad. Your channel makes my morning at work. Thank you for keeping it real, as always. The one and only Frankie Muhammad. I can't be an NBA announcer or a game announcer podcast because I'll slip and I'll say some funny stuff, and then next thing you know, CBS will have me fired. Well, I'll tell them like CBS, listen, you've been manipulated by Bill Wang because CBS is basically Viacom, and you don't come to me and try to pick on my comment. Veronica, you welcome. Yes, thank you. It is a calm before the storm. Brendan and Ella's. Brendan, say B. And I'll catch you both. Yeah. Frankie, what's up, man? Kim, how are you doing? I see now Mrs. Tahiti, Stacia, and Dana now are all friends, by the way, guys. Now, well, they were friends before, but now they're like very official friends. What kind of hair does IHOP sell? Extensions. I thought that was gonna go somewhere about haircuts for the DTCC rule and all that stuff, and I went completely the opposite direction. And I've been missing her. I'm trying to see a lot of welcomes and a lot of loves and happies and highs. Uh-oh. What do you call a pair of pants that no kung fu? Khaki chan. Where do you come up with these? Just FYI, I want to know. I'm going to see what Al from has to say, even if he a bad boy. Just make sure you don't comment. If you comment, then he will read you in the comment section. Then he'll take you to a museum somewhere. Did I say that dark enough? Oh, he's in DC now. What is he out from DC now? I'm not feeling Trey anymore. He wants to stay face. Veronica, um, at the end of the day, like I said, what people say, they're entitled to all their opinions. But if it's something that it could affect other people, they need to keep that in mind. I understand people want to stay relevant. People want to get the views and the subscribes and the hits and the likes and whatever, and keep their celebrity status. And if that's what their intention was from the beginning, um, but that does not that doesn't buy shit for someone who just lost or who just loses based on that info. And I understand it's your fault if you get manipulated by that or if you fall for that. It's your fault because at the end of the day, you got to make your own decisions. But it's in a way you were trusting someone that you totally thought was on your side. So I feel for you, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's still your fault. So guys, please don't fall for this hypes of now or never, or this is gonna do it or this is not gonna do it, unless it is a financial advisor that can own up to their advice. Unless they can say it as an advice and say yes, not don't trust me, bro. Like unless they say this is financial advice, then you can't go ahead and just take it to the bank. At the end of it, you got to keep that caution, no matter what, no matter who it is. What did 20 do when it got hungry? 28. He's always been too much for me. He would stress me out watching him. I need AB and Pantheon people. Well, Mrs. Tahiti, thank you. We're here for you. I think Citadel is a credit union, so they won't be affected by ISDA. Mickey J. Citadel, I'll tell you this, Mickey J. In a nutshell, um, even though there's no such thing as too big to fail, but from the get go, Citadel was never meant to fail or gonna go down because I explained many times before that their agreement with Melvin or whatever to swap out their positions with them or whatever may be the case, or how to get rid of them was always going to be feasible. The moment I knew that Citadel was going to be fine, or specifically Ken Griffin, is when he officially announced months ago that the Citadel going public, and getting like given what was it like? I remember it was like 5% or something to Paradigm and whatever the other one, Sasquatch or whatever the name of it is. I keep forgetting that, but you guys, that's the two companies that came in, and those two companies are two of the most leading companies in the crypto realm or software realm in Silicon Valley. So When he made that little partnership with them, he didn't need the money from them, but he opened himself up to become a public company, which means he could also open himself up for something that's very interesting, for bailouts. Privately held company cannot file for bailouts, but if it's publicly and if it's poses a systematic risk, they can. They can. So ultimately, I knew that he was in the clear no matter what. The second he made that uh, move, because now he's trying to go for the future and for what it is. Like I keep telling you guys, the plate that is filled with food and gold is right in front of everyone, but everyone is reaching for the basket of bread. And what I mean by this, once again, I'll say one statement and I'll keep moving so that I don't keep bothering people with saying it. Bitcoin has only less than 2 million coins left to be mined, and it's already at whatever 37, 36,000. The average on the biggest institutional holders of Bitcoin is $30 to $31,000 a coin. That is their average. Okay. And once those 2 million or less than 2 million coins are mined officially complete, what do you think the price will be or what it will go to? So many companies and so many countries and so many people adopted Bitcoin. Bitcoin is never and will never go anywhere. And that's a statement that AB fully stands behind. And when the mining of it is finished, there needs to be the supply is going to be completely done, but the demand is going to still be there. So in order to suffice the demand, the supply has to be relevant again. How does that happen? The price starts skyrocketing to unbelievable numbers, unbelievable skies. And then eventually when the price is right, that's when supply starts continues again. Because again, it's adopted by so many. So will Ethereum. And believe it or not, maybe not as hype as Bitcoin and Ethereum, but Dogecoin is also in that category, you know, simply and only for one reason, just because, the world richest man is backing that up. And knowing him for who he is, I, I, I could see Dogecoin being a dollar coin and just like, past it, very possibly. But he at least owes it. I know him. When he puts his mind to something, he stays on it. So this is not financial advice, of course. Trust me, bro, whatever you want to take it as. Um, but he is going to get the people to that dollar because that was the initial dream of the Dogecoin community. We want to see a dollar per coin. And eventually we'll get it to that. All he has to do is continue to if he just puts doge on the dojo or whatever that server is that he has, the world's most powerful server, um, that's end game. Stacia credit union my ass. That's a good place to invest. Mickey, you think they file that way? It's skinny going for a bank. That also is a very big possibility. Adam Montoya, so do you think AMC is going to squeeze? 1000%. Just I don't believe it will be this week. I believe you'll see, like, okay, you're going to see the squeeze and random pickups. Like what happened in June of 2021 was a random pickup that I believe was orchestrated. Yes, many apes made money, but do you know how many lost money? Because they anticipated the actual squeeze and it didn't squeeze past the levels of the 70. Like it didn't even go past the 100. And everybody's expectation was that it was going to go at least to whatever, past the 500, $800 range at least to even think about selling, right? And so it didn't go there. I personally think it was orchestrated on their side so that they can capture a lot of people, get a lot of bag holders, and then um, also get the ability to short a stock and make money out of it. Because you know how much money they made shorting AMC from, even though manipulating whatever, but they shorted it from the 70s all the way down to the 13s. Yeah, that was a lot of money. Um, and of course, that's why we picked back up to the 30s and then dumping back down now because somebody closed up their positions to go back, and that's why some that little buying in brought it back up to the early 30s before it got dumped back down, shorted again. Now in the teens, this is why it's dangerous for them in the teens, because every time it goes to these levels, it's scary because how much more can you drop? I mean, is it even worth dropping it more? And with the state of the market and nobody's really giving you money, it's only like we're literally standing, and here's why we're in a good position is because we're standing, and it's not like we have a hollow space behind us. No, we like the wall is right behind us. We can literally see it right there. So the worst that thing that could happen is they could push us against the wall. We're not that far off. So yeah, the next time it powers through to back to see those 30s or 40s, oh my god. And these market conditions, yeah, we'll see what they'll do. Veronica, Al from Boston and DC, mostly talking about the haircut DD, and other YouTubers are talking about the Butcher of Wall Street was talking about Friday night. Uh, uh, uh. Honestly, like I don't understand, and like I give all the props to Boss Marcel, but I don't get why. Like honestly, I just don't. I don't get why too many creators are making such a huge deal um, out of this regulation. I mean, the biggest deal about it is that it was supposed to be sometime in November of this year, but now it's got sped up to this like now in the beginning of May or end of April, obviously. So that's the biggest part to me about it. That means obviously the state of the market is so much worse than even they anticipated on when it's going to go down. So it's huge haircuts, yes, and all this stuff. But again, it's one of those other things. It's so crazy how suddenly everybody totally forgot about the NSCC regulation that apparently was labeled just as of last week was labeled as a MOAS killer. All people are jumping into each other's DD now because everybody's is becoming a news reporter now. Obviously, not saying that uh, Boss, or any of the other creators are just news reporters. There's a difference between just news reporting. You need to listen to the news, of course, to keep up with what's happening or the state of the market. But um, you got to also understand what to do with the news. So the good part on Boss is that he knows and he understands how to decipher the news that he gathers. Some are just flat out giving it to you and saying margin calls next. Like I've seen many that's on just thumbnails. Um, oh, DTC just released this. Tomorrow will be the MOAS. Like that, almost to that extent. And that is not DD. Where did I get? Did it pass? Where did I get? Okay, watch Al. He's back. Oh, um, Gaki Cham. I've seen that. Okay, I got here now finally. Jason Scott, what's up, my boy? Perfect. Sound it is fine now. So look, that's how far I was. He read the same DD Pantheon and Butcher from Wall Street was talking about. They put in the link out, so he's putting his spin on it, Mrs. Tahiti. Oh, you're talking about Veronica. I'm pretty sure you're talking about Al from what is he now? DC? Yeah. Mickey J. Oh yeah. You ages, you found some info in the DTC notice that was alarming or interesting. Yeah. Well, the fact that there is a lot of YouTubers that some of that is alarming is the fact that like not alarming as in is like bad or is that is very good. The book is just like as its title, but the alarming part is that there's a lot of creators that are putting out the info that this all these things are becoming worthless. No, the stock is not becoming worthless. It's just the collateral of the stock is worth less now. So basically, in other words, the lender expects you to, if at once upon a time they were expecting you to provide them a arm and a leg for a loan, now they gonna expect you to provide an arm and a leg times three. To in order to give you some money, just because that just shows you this the scarcity of the money on the market right now as we speak. So that was the alarming stuff, Mickey. um, and what else? And the fact that it was supposed to be from in November, because about 6 7 months ago, that was stuff that was covered by a couple of YouTubers. Um, One of them was what's his name, Charlie's vid. I think it was like 6 7 months ago, but it was due to be done in November, and it didn't. It came much earlier, so that's alarming. And that was it, Mickey. So it's all in the good. No worries. Adrian Fernandez. Ken Griffin is something like the head of Medusa, and all that are involved with Citadel are like the little snakes. We cut the head off, they all die together. 100%. Thank you for validating that, Adrian. I'm glad you think that way. These typos kill me. I'm gonna slap that gorgeous smile right off your face, AB. Pantheon is very pleased with my hammer skills. That's what's up. Stacia, they're red now, but thank you. She's not scared. AB, did you see Astro's video yesterday? He was crying. Veronica, what was he crying about? No, unfortunately, I didn't see it. I mean, honestly, I'm not even the only video I've ever seen for Astro was the video that Pantheon said, watch in one of his live streams is like number two about the NSCC regulation and stuff. And I'll be honest, like again, not a dig against the brother, and I'm pretty sure he's a very intelligent person. Um, I couldn't from that video. I just couldn't. He couldn't grow on me, and it was just because of that. All that I don't know. I don't know what it was. It just I couldn't uh, stay long in there. In that habitat. But I'll be excited. I mean, if there is anything, I would definitely love to reach out or something like that. But I don't know. What is he crying about? Andale arriba. Something just became official. I'm buying puts on SPY. That's Brendan and Ella's. Not financial advice. Not financial advice. And I totally agree with that. Not financial advice. So trust me, bros. But do not trust me, bros. But yes, that's a very, very, very. I would say there's a. I would say there's a 75% chance. This is how high it is. That's very high. That yes, it will be going down, crashing down. Not too crazy, I would say right off the bat. There's some time, but it's gonna be drastically bleeding. Leah the Lion. No jokes today. Are you kidding me? You and Adrian Fernandez, you guys will light up a whole comedy central. I don't believe anyone or anything is too big to fail. I believe this is to be true by retrospect regarding Pablo Escobar and El Chapo. If they failed anyone else, they can fail as well, in my opinion. I agree with you, Adrian, but the difference here is Pablo and the El Chapos. These guys were enemies of the state. Here's the only difference. This guy, he yes, he is like in his own world, like I'm referring to Kenny. He is a criminal of his own in his own right, and yes, he is like just like the Pablos and the El Chapos. They did, uh, fund the government officials and whatnot. But the difference here is those guys were in that region, in that part of the world, and they were enemies of this state. So you got to remember that there is the U.S. and then there is Colombia and there's Mexico. And the difference here is that their governments, I mean, those guys could have continued to not fail had, you know, had their governments continued to corruptly support them. But eventually, who got both of these guys? Was it their governments or was it our government? So it was Team America that got them. America. I'm not going to continue the song. So yes, of course he's not too big to fail, but at worst, even if he fails, he's bringing the rest of the economy. When Pablo or El Chapo fell, they only destroyed their regions, their home nations. Their corruption was there, and the country here, the CIA, utilized that to their advantage. They were bringing in a lot of, again, I'm not going to get all political here and stuff, but most of you, especially you, Adrian, I'm pretty sure you know all the backstories. But the difference is where they were and where they at. And this guy, he is on the like Republicans favorite list. Remember when T-Mobile had the favorite five that you can call them for free anytime as much as you want? I'm not old. That plan on their cell phones or on their phones. Yeah, Ken is on every Republican's favorite five. I think Biggums will be on tonight. Yes, I think he will be on tonight. I think I've seen a notification. I'm subscribed to him. Um, so I think I've seen a notification. But who knows? I might remove that subscription sometime soon because I'm that kind of person. Subscribe to me, I subscribe to you. If I subscribe to you and you subscribe to me, that means you're too big for me. There's no such thing like that. I don't go down like this. Everybody is the same to me. So we'll see how that goes down. Maybe you guys will come back and tell me what happens. Lots of to me, AB, he's not real anymore. He made his money. Probably lots of apes get burned because of him. Um, the spotlight bring him down. That's true. I agree. I mean, again, this is another reason why people shouldn't just like be bragging about what they made and what they talk about and all this stuff. Because when you do that, um, a lot of people see it as, hey, while we're holding, buying and holding, you're over there, um, you're over there just, you know, dishing out your positions and you selling. And God knows if you're so open talking about those, but you never mentioned whether you sold or you didn't sell your shares. Who's to tell me that you didn't sell all of it, and you just said that's it? So yeah, it opens up doors for like no trust. I can see where you're coming from, Veronica. Adrian, don't forget about Al Capone. Yes, he won't forget. Why did the Bloods and the Crips start accepting gay members to join? Because they weren't real gangbangers. Al Capone, definitely Bonnie and Clyde too. Oh yeah, I love Doge and Ship too, but mostly Doge. I see that's a good place, Adrian. I'm holding a boatload of Doge with a buy-in price of somewhere around the current price of Ship. Oh wow. Well, have fun waiting, brother. Oh my God. I hate when it just suddenly jumps on you like this. But I'm catching up, right? Yeah, I think I'm catching up. I think AMC will drop before it rips. And by drop, I mean single digits. And when it does, oh boy. Um, it's a possibility, Adrian, obviously. Um, it's going to be very hard for them to try to, but I can see how it could happen. If a lot of institutes continue to sell off their positions, then yeah, at this stage, I mean, I anticipate, and by the way, you guys are to be happy if that's the case, because there's two scenarios. If institutions hold and the squeeze takes off, then you're going to have problems in the top. Like they will start dumping out big positions on the top, and then we'll deal with that bull crap of delaying at that point or like up there. But if we get them out of the way here, at least majority of them down here, it'll be perfect because yes, like Adrian just said, like if they drop it down by selling off their positions down to the single digits, that gives that gives many of us obviously much higher chance to load up. But at the same time, it's much better than when it's already squeezing and it's like at 150 or 200 or $300 or whatever, and then they start dropping their shares, and then the price what corrects to 100 or $90. It's high, and it's not as easy for anybody who's outside trying to get in at. So if they do that, hey, by all means, go fire away. Anyways, we have to get rid of those shares regardless. Like we're gonna meet that bridge regardless, so we might as well cross it now. I always think that way. So do I cross it now or do I save it to later? No, I'd rather cross it now so I can get rid of all this crap now, so that it'll be so more beautiful down the line. Yes, he was emotionally because remember 20 oh 2008. I thought it was like 2008. And his father losing a lot had friends lose a lot too. Oh, I mean, so he experienced this whole thing firsthand. He was one of those people that he seen that happen with. When that happened in 2008, I was literally just still coming out of like leaving college, like not coming out of college, leaving college. Um, I remember the times people didn't know 5% of what they know now. The world didn't know 5% of what they know now. You, beautiful people, know so much more, like 180 degrees more than what people that generation knew. And that's why I always say there's certain like YouTubers or creators that are their whole mission is to solve the market situation. And then there's a lot that are just in it to make their cash as traders and move on with their life. I would love to see a much better system. I would love to see a much better world. But I've always from the beginning said that I am a trader. I love trading. And this whole thing is a personal mission to me. And it means so much to me to stick it to them on the other side. It means so much to me. But I don't, honestly, I'm not going to try to go further to try to change things in the back, because at the end of the day, I'm just not that person. That needs revolutionists and people who are like that, and who's going to tie down a lot of their time, of their personal life into that. And I just have different perspective and different lanes and different goals in life. Besides this, not throwing any water at it or anything. No, in fact, I glorify it, but it's just not my. I'm not that guy for that. I have, like I said, other goals. I want to go and fight other battles in this world, immediate battles that can get immediate results before ever thinking about that over there. Because at the end of the day, I know that at the end of the day, I just have one life, and I don't want to live it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I want to go spend it on beaches and islands. While that's not wrong, but that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, what I mean by battles, as in make a difference in the world. And when I say in the world, not just in one place, all over the world. Um, and that's my thing. I want to stand up with people who are dying of hunger. I mean, the other day I've seen a video of a man who was basically saying, and again, I don't want to bring this up, but just to give you guys the perspective here, while we're over here like you know crying about squeeze numbers and share stocks, this man was making a video and it went viral, at least in the outside world, where he was saying, hey, we want to ask, please God, he's a religious man, so he was saying, please God, don't curse us, because I'm just transferring the message he was saying. Don't curse us because we're not fasting, because our life in general is fasting every day. We're not waiting for a Ramadan or a mass, or like we're not waiting for a special occasion to fast, and that's when we fast. No, we're fasting every day. So we're not fasting because at any given time we get an opportunity to eat. Whenever a meal comes around, we're just going to eat it because we don't see it. It's very hard to get it. So AB is fight is in that realm. That's my world. That's what I want to fight. Things like that, inequalities, injustices. That's my battle. Changing the financial system and all that stuff has its soldiers, and I'm pretty sure they are more than capable of doing what they got to do. But my battle is in a different realm. So I hope, obviously, I did not offend anybody with what I just said. Um, it's just like I said, that's I don't have to even explain it, but that's me. Everyone has a different call in the world. That's my calling. What do you call it when two vegans are fighting beyond beef? I like this one. And then the Bloods and the Crips one, those two stand out for me, Adrian. This is Tahiti. For me, GME have a lot of GME, just want more. Nice. Hell yeah. Da, 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 da. Ladies, see if you can find Gloria shower time so I can prepare for hammer time tonight. See you later, Stacia. Yeah, far storm wise, Mrs. Tahiti, we're good right here in Cincinnati, and some parts of Ohio is terrible. Jeffrey, AB, do you ever not wear a hat or just don't want to fix your hair? No, no. There are some videos where obviously I put it up without a hat. It just became part of the brand. I just like it. I just like it more. And plus, I put it right in between the headphones and my head. So I don't know. Let's just think. And yes, there is a little part of it where I just don't want to go ahead and try to comb it and all that stuff. It's, a hat is better. And, that way the people accept you for who you are. When people have to go and start changing how they look and dress and fix their hair and look presentable, while that is good, I feel like, you're more focused on that than the real uh, issue at hand. GME is going to be the big one. I think I wish I had only AMC, but enough. I hope the sky is the limit for you, sincerely. I mean, for both. Yes, I hope for both. I got both, and I'm very big on both. Yes, Mrs. Tahiti, it hit a lot of coworkers on my job losing their homes and lots of savings. It was crazy. We could not work because we was numb. Yes, that was 2008 for you in a nutshell. And guess what, guys? We have a lot more knowledge. Unfortunately, the numbers or the population in this planet grew as well. So a lot more people are going to be really devastated by this, unfortunately. But at least a certain big sum can't blame the system, because with this world being so digitally connected and internet is everywhere and everybody, there's absolutely no way possible that any person can come out and say, I didn't even hear about this coming. In fact, many people, when they saw it, I guarantee you, if they didn't see it, they heard about it and they labeled it as conspiracy. And I don't want to deal about it. So it's either they were lazy to go ahead and protect themselves, or they labeled it as conspiracy and just didn't want to believe it. And either of those two is going to lead to a devastating blow to them, because again, the punch you don't see coming is the one that knocks you out. Back in 2008, that wasn't the case. People just didn't see it coming. Like, they didn't even know that it was coming. Now it's different. It's all over the place. And if you don't want to believe it, you choose not to believe it. Why did the golfer bring two pairs of pants in case he got a hole in one? I wasn't even preparing to read that, Adrian. Let's see. What do we have here? Ah, Adrian, Tahiti. Only if you're if you're barbecued. I'm from Texas, and I love me some brisket. Ooh, I love brisket. I love barbecue in general. Um, AB is down with all of it minus pork. So as long as you don't have pork, AB is down with it. Doesn't matter how you make it and what you cook it out of. Guy got a Glock. What's good, y'all? What's up? What's up, brother? How are you doing? Are you carrying right now? I'm a vegan in Florida, except seafood and fish. Oh, isn't that what they call a pescatarian? Is it? Hopefully, I'm not wrong, Mrs. Tahiti. It doesn't sound right too, like how they say pescatarian. It makes it sound like you eat insects, but that's the term that they make for people who don't eat meat but they eat fish. Um, I don't mind barbecue sauce. I don't either. Fire it up. I have a lot of vacation plans too, folks. Uh-oh. What time do ducks wake up? At the quack of dawn. Aflac. Who remembers those commercials? Oscar, how are you doing? Welcome to the chat. What bubble could help the meme stock squeeze and put hedges under brink to cover? And how long do you think they can keep kicking the can down the road? Thanks. Okay. Okay. Um, as far as a bubble, I don't think they're like this whole thing has been an entire bubble that has been completely overinflated, and it's weird how it got this big, how it gotten this big, and it didn't bust yet, right? But we're definitely very near, like extremely near. Now, as far as when, you will see it as in the behavior of institutes. That's the people I pay attention to the most. When I see people or institutes like Credit Suisse dump shares, unbelievable amount of shares, that means they're really thirsty and they need money. That will bust because all it takes is for one person to break, and that's it. It'll be after that it's over because everything becomes a domino effect. Those big, like those guys, when they roll over, it's done deal for them. And man, time has been passing by so quick to the point where I forgot what time it is. Let's see. Let me go down because I have a few minutes before I go break my fast. My final day of fasting, guys. Again, thank you so much for getting me through this whole month and bearing with me. Ah, Kersha is in the house. How are you doing, sis? And Mr. Pantheon is in the house. Wow. Sorry, Pantheon. As you're coming in, my great friend, uh, if he's preparing to go out. Wow. Jeffrey, the Bible says, be ready in season and out and to provide to your body as living sacrifice unto the Lord. So I'm always prepped up in case I go meet him at any given time. Wow. Spoken like a true believer and a true soldier. Um, so live a life on an open, as an open heart and as an open mind, and you will never have to worry about, you know, who you will answer to when your time comes up, because you never know when it comes. They should have let the squeeze last January. Instead, they made the army of economic experts. Pabloco, that's been the issue. Uh, Pete, how are you doing? Sorry, I'm leaving really soon. AB, you could be a pescatarian. You eat fish. Pescatarian. You eat fish that only eat other fish. Ah, so yeah, I can't eat shark meat. I can't eat alligators. Well, that's not fish, anyways. That take it away from me, guys. I sounded really dumb there. That's fasting get into your brain. But thanks, Pantheon. I always fall asleep to Sundays to Pantheon's radio. I can't wait. Tonight I'll be watching. But again, you guys seen the basket of candy? This is oh my god! Just wait to see the specific Jordanian coffee that we make for the holiday Eid. So I can't wait. They have literally kicked the can down the road. So far, they have more miles on their feet than I have on my Chevy. And most likely more air miles than Pantheon have developed in 14 months. If you ever get a chance to eat hogfish, do not pass it up. It's amazing. I need to get up my seafood game up because I was scarred when I was a kid, and ever since I've been trying, but it just couldn't happen. That pescatarian was a joke from the show, from the TV show Silicon Valley. Ah, the character was trying to be difficult at a formal dinner. My early morning coffee. Oh my! I just can't wait, guys. As of tomorrow, maybe he'll be able to bring his hookah. He'll be able to bring his coffee, his food, whatever. Throughout, watch every live is most likely going to host some sort of meal or something just to stick it to the world. Not to you guys. I don't know why I'm making out of this, but I just need to. Mentally, I've been preparing for a whole month. Pantheon, you're an encyclopedia or a TV buff. My wife loves milkfish. Ah, I've never tried it. I'll have to try it, folks. Well, my dear friends, family members, thank you so much for showing up tonight and today, this evening, and showing the love. I loved the questions. I loved everything we talked about. Like I said, you remember what my message was in the beginning of this about what we're going to most likely experience this week. Please, guys, once again, two things I will leave you with. When there is fear, be greedy. And when there is greed, be fearful. With that being said, when where was that? I was going to go with that. The second saying I was going to actually say, I just said it earlier in the chat, but I'm thinking about the food so much. Oh my God. Um, when you become fearless, guys, you become, life becomes limitless. So the same two can coincide together at the same time, but you can get the most out of those two sayings for tonight. With that being said, this week, you got to remember, even if margin calls are dished out, they still have a possibility to go ahead and come up with cash. How? I don't know, but most likely by liquidating other positions that they have so that they can keep themselves from getting liquidated on their shorts. So keep that in your mind. So for those of certain people that are overreacting to, as far as like, oh, margin calls are coming this week, some people might misunderstand this as that's it, the squeeze is this week. So keep a fine line between the two. I'm not also saying that there's no squeeze this week. There could be a possibility. Just think about the possibility of them still having to sell their other positions before they would have to do that. They will sell their children before they close their shorts for a loss, and they will definitely wait till the last moment. So thank you, Mr. Panulo. Thank you, everybody, for show up tonight. Good night, Jeffrey. Good night, Pantheon. I will watch you later on tonight, brother. Thanks for showing up. Frankie Mohammed, appreciate you. All you beautiful people in here. Mrs. Tahiti, Dana, Stacia, everybody. Veronica. Now I feel like Adrian. Now I gotta feel like I gotta mention everybody. Pete, and because how come he didn't mention me? Kersha, um, Mickey, everybody. And like I said, with the new software, hopefully I'll be able to bring all of you guys in the near future to come on randomly on the live chat, just so that you can, we all know each other here. I've already somewhat verified all of you guys in here because we've been following each other for a while. So I know what you are about. Unless you're new and I don't know anything about you, then you'll never have to worry about that. But I know all of you in here. We're all very close family members. So um, I feel comfortable with you guys. If you ever want to pop on, I feel comfortable bringing you on so that the rest of the family can see you guys and can hear you live. We all get to know each other more so that when the MOAS happens, we all can meet up sometime without even thinking twice. Like, hey, that one person, he had his title, his picture was not even a real person. So how do I trust who I'm going to see there? That being said, guys, thank you so much. Much love, AB Investments.